Hi everyone, my name is Javi, I can draw. Welcome to a new video. This is part 2 of legs, and I have to be honest with you, I spent like the last hour trying to figure out how to do this, how to draw legs. And you know, from trying to explain how to do this, it's a lot more complicated than I thought it would be. So this one might be a long one. But by the end of it, we're going to understand the basics of legs. So let's do it. Great, so if the camera please would follow me to the computer screen, here we are. The first thing that we're going to do is actually figure out the basic shapes. This is super obvious, and we did this one already in the how to draw the human figure videos, and basically it's like 2 cylinders and a ball. So it's like 1 cylinder for this part of the leg, 1 cylinder for this part of the leg, and a ball. The same thing applies to all of this. Cylinder, cylinder, cylinder. But there is something that I want you to notice regarding the cylinders that has to do a lot with how we usually draw legs. And this is actually where they are positioned. And you know, they're not, you can see this already, but they are not vertically drawn. And I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. Like, look at this distance. Look at this distance and then look at this distance. There's all of this between where the top leg part of the leg begins and where the lower part of the leg begins. Look at this distance and look at how this distance continues to where the foot begins. You can see this also here, here. You can see this distance here. This has to do with, well, you know, if you want to exaggerate this a bit more, it's like the leg of a dog, the back leg of a dog. It's kind of the same thing. So if you're looking at a full human figure, like in this one, you can see, like, look at these distances. You can see that the leg starts pretty much where the torso is, but then it goes real back. And that is not something that you usually think when you're thinking like, I have to draw legs and a man standing straight, and you think about everything straight, but it's not like that. On top of these simple cylinder shapes, there is something else that will help us get a better, it's like a small tip to get the legs right. This is a rule that animators use when designing characters that is called straight against the curve. I almost forgot about it. Straight against the curve. And it is like, well, let me show you an example. What it means is that, for example, look at the legs. I'm going to get rid of this. Look at the legs. You can see that this is straight and this is curved. And this is straight and this is curved. And the same thing here, straight, curve, and the same thing here. Curve, straight, and this is like curved, straight, kind of like that on the front. I don't know if it works like that, but still, like, if you get rid of the leg here, it's still, you get the feeling of rhythm of the leg. And that's what matters. So always when you're doing body shapes, try to think about straight against the curve, because it always helps. It always helps. Now on top of that, there are certain rhythms that are given that way because of how the muscles are shaped, and I'm going to show you here on the front. It's like super noticeable. You can actually see this line that comes from this line, like all of the dynamics of the leg are like going to the center, and you can see how the knee is kind of you know, like tilted just a bit, and then from this angle it just gets cut. So if we want to draw a super simple way of drawing legs, you start with the cylinder, you come from the hip, you start to the cylinder, you do cylinder 1, you do the ball for the knee, you do cylinder 2, here we go, and then you think about curving this, and then going straight with this, and curving this part, bringing this part, this curve, like straight, curve, and then doing this, like this is the curvy part, and you can keep this a little bit straighter. So curvy, straight. You can do this. And if you want to have like an overall shape of the muscles, you can always keep in mind that this is like this. This helps. These lines really, really help. And now that we're talking about muscles, there is something else that I want to tell you about. Now, of this leg shape that you're looking at is muscles on top of bones. That's always like that. And in this particular case, for the upper part of the leg, the bones are really, really important. Now, let's just keep going with the knee like this ball. I'm going to do a video on knees tomorrow because it's something very difficult for me and I haven't quite learned it yet. But you need to know that, well, if the knee is going to be this shape, then there's going to be this big bone that is the femur, and it's going to come this way and connect like this. It has like kinda this shape, and it's going to connect to your hip bone that is kinda like this. I'm going like super simplified example of showing you this. But you have this shape, which are like these two bones that you can touch. If you like touch your hip and where your leg begins, you can touch the femur and you can touch your hip bone. You can see that. So this is attached like this. But these two are super important because when you're trying to understand the forms that shape the muscles of the leg, there is something that I want to show you. And that is, and I'm going to draw muscles on green, that is, there's going to be from the front, there's going to be two muscle groups that are very important. The first one is underneath the other one, and it comes from the knee. If you need to get an idea of how it goes, it comes from the knee to the hip bone, and it connects like this. It is something like this. It comes from the knee, and it goes all the way here around like the inner part of your leg. I don't know what the name in English is, I forgot. I probably by the time I turn off the camera I will remember. But then there is the other one, the top one, let's just choose this color, that comes from this side, and it's going to connect to this part. See now, this, if I just erase this part, and if I kind of imply the shape of the knee here, I get rid of this, and you have the biggest two volumes that comprise the upper part of the leg. Like you have this volume here. So basically they are crossing each other. One goes this way and the other one goes this way. Now regarding the muscles of the rest of the leg, well, it gets a little bit simpler because, well, let's say that you just got the knee here. Now this is like one of the big muscle that I was talking about here that is attached to this part. Now the back part is just this one big muscle group. And then comes the butt, but I'm going to do a separate video on the butt. So here is just going to be this one big mass. And on the lower part of your leg, well, it's pretty much the same. There's going to be like this big mass. And then there's going to be a tiny muscle here that comes this way. But it's not really like super relevant. You can see that is this ball like from behind. You see this ball here. And from the front, you have a muscle that comes this way. But that particular muscle is like, I don't know. I don't draw it much. Maybe I should start doing it. But, well, if we have to do like a really quick recap, I think we can do like the cylinders first, then straight against the curve, then those dynamic diagonal shapes for rhythm, and then we can start focusing on the 2 muscle groups for the upper part of the leg, and the rest of the leg is like, well, it's pretty simple. Was that clear enough? Is that simple enough? Am I missing something? Just let me know, because I think that this is a pretty complex subject, but I don't want to overwhelm you because, well, mainly because I'm not that good at this, at legs. And the second part is because, you know, if I start talking about muscles, it's just too much, it can get like really boring. I don't want to do that. So let me know what you think. This is going to be it for today. My name is Javi, I can draw, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!